Okay, on Sunday, we got the Western Conference Finals picking up again in Game 3. It moves to the middle of the country in Oklahoma City. You got the Spurs, a 2.5 point. Oh, I'm sorry, Oklahoma City is favored for this one, 2.5, but it went down to 2 with a total of 208. And Jim, this is supposed to be the great matchup between the young Athletic Thunder, the old men, the veteran of the Spurs, looking for their 5th title since 1999. But really, that Oklahoma 4-0 sweep during the regular season has meant nothing. They got blown out in the first 2 games. I did hear that you have been hired as a consultant this weekend to fly to Oklahoma City and help Scotty Brooks teach them some defense.
Well, I'm going to pass on that offer because I really, I'm just going to stay here in Las Vegas and bet on the games. I'll let him handle this, but not that he's doing that great a job because he's really not. So I'm not here to pick on Scotty Brooks. That's how he makes his living. He knows a lot more about basketball than I will ever know. I know a lot more about betting than he will ever know. But what I see here is that Oklahoma City is not a prepared team. This is a team that has been criticized for a long time of being a two-man game. Durant, Westbrook, Durant, Westbrook, Durant, Westbrook. And they do everything. They score the points. They run the offense. Westbrook is the worst point guard that I've ever seen in basketball. He is totally not a point guard. This guy is a 2-guard, simply a 2-guard. You've got to have someone else distribute the basketball because he does not do it well. He's a great, great player. No question about it. I'd love to have him on my team if I had a team. But he is not a point guard. You have to have somebody get other people involved. Why they didn't have other players like Adams and the big guys underneath, why they didn't have them playing more throughout the season to have better combinations that work together better. The defense has been atrocious. Then their offense fell apart. They even put them on the bench in the second half of Game 2. They lost by 35 points. Now, granted, some teams lose by 35 points and they come back and win the next game, especially since they're going back home. But this is a Spurs team that is coached by maybe the best coach in basketball, in Popovich. They have 3 great players that have been around forever, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. They've got Kawhi Leonard, who's absolutely been awesome, Splitter, Leonard, Diaw, Matt Bonner, Patty Mills, Danny Green. These guys play all year long. They get a lot of minutes. Popovich gets this team to go 10 deep. He is prepared for a grinding series where you've got this other team depending on 2 players to get them all their points, play all the minutes, and they're not prepared. Now, it's terrible that they lost Serge Ibaka. It's a terrible loss. But to lose 1 player and be destroyed the way they're being destroyed, that to me goes back to coaching. The coach did not prepare this team to be in situations where things don't quite go the way they planned it. And that's why they're getting beat and destroyed. I don't know if they can pull it back together and even win 1 game in this series.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be difficult the way they looked those first 2 games. Jeff, back in 2012, just 2 years ago, San Antonio led the Western Conference Finals 2-0 against this same Oklahoma City team. Much of the star players were the same. That was part of a 10-0 run by the Spurs. They actually won their first 10 playoff games. And Game 2 of that series, San Antonio won at home, 120-111. They shot 55% from the field. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, that ended up being their last win of the entire season because Oklahoma City then won 4 in a row to get to the NBA Finals. So last week we talked a little bit about coaching strategy. Young Scotty Brooks, he's 0-1 in the NBA Finals against Greg Popovich, who has 4 rings. So far, it's been a one-sided affair, but, what on earth can the Thunder do to try and repeat a comeback like 2012?
Well, the difference now is that in 2012, the first 2 games, they were at least close.
Yeah.
At least they were competitive. This year, they've just been outgunned, outclassed, humiliated. And it's happened before in the NBA playoffs and then the team would come back and win a Game 3. But right now, they don't show. Right now, they're just getting destroyed, and it's hard to back a team even in that situation. I know Serge Ibaka is a big loss, but they would not have won these games with him because instead of losing by 35, they might have lost by 20 or something like that. They can't blame these 2 losses on missing Ibaka. It's ridiculous because they weren't even close. So the only good thing is that they had 3 days off to try to figure out something. But Coach Brooks doesn't seem to know what to do here, because I'm not sure if you could have 2 weeks off it would make any difference. The Spurs have shot 53.8% from the field. You can't do anything about that. So you have a team shoot like that, you're not going to beat them no matter what you do. Plus, Kevin Durant might be maybe a little out of gas there. He's averaged 43 minutes during the playoffs, so he might be a little bit tired. So I don't know. It's a 2-point favorite. You would think only in the NBA could a team get destroyed like that, and then the next game would be only a 2-point favorite only because of the history of the NBA playoffs, the dramatic emotional swings. But right now it's hard to back the Thunder in this situation. Although I'll see how it goes. Right now I haven't decided, John.
Yeah, I would agree with it. While there are similarities from 2 years ago, it certainly doesn't get the sense that it will be similar at all. I think that was a better Oklahoma City team. They had Harden and they had Serge Ibaka, so they had 4 players that they could count on as potential stars or great role players, and now they're down to half that. I'm going to take a look at the total this weekend for this series. First of all, the Spurs are on a 7-3 run over the total. As you guys mentioned, they've done whatever they wanted in these first 2 games. Game 1, they shot 57.5%. They hit 9 3-pointers. That's what they do, hitting wide open threes. And that's the thing about these first 2 games. If you watch them, the 3-pointers the Spurs have taken, there's nobody on them. There's no hands in their face. They've got a lot of guys, particularly Danny Green, open, and that's a tribute to their passing, which is tops in the NBA in assists, and their depth, the way they play such unselfish play, and they have so many guys that they can go to, as Jim talked about. And then game 2, they hit 9 3-pointers, shot 50% as a team, and won in a blowout. I thought it was interesting, some of the stories that Greg Popovich was talking about and even showing game film of the Game 6 loss to the Miami Heat last year. This team is certainly playing as if it has a chip on its shoulder, and I think that could be a monster motivator for this series and even the finals. Some of the spread trends are not good for the Spurs, but I wouldn't put too much stock in that. 0-7 against the spread the last 7 meetings here in in Oklahoma City, and then they're 3-10-1 against the Thunder the last 14. The catch there is that they're 2-0 the last 2 games. But with respect to the total, I see San Antonio running and gunning, and they're still going to have guys open along 3-point land, which is their game. When Oklahoma City plays in the Western Conference Finals, 4-1 run over the total. When the Spurs are in the conference finals, they're on a 7-2 run over the total, as well as a current 7-3 run over the total. All I can see Game 4 on Sunday being a high-scoring affair. All right, guys, let's talk about how some of the how people can get on board with Vegas experts like yourselves. Jim, on Tuesday, you had that NBA winner with the Miami Heat. That was Game 2, a nice comeback win for the Heat. Wednesday, you were 2-1 with your top plays, including underdog play in the NHL with the LA Kings, a big dog at Chicago. And then you had that late bailout game of the month in baseball, the underdog Minnesota Twins, winning 2-0. How can folks get aboard with a special?
Well, the important thing is, guys out there, I'm a bettor. That's what I do. And I do lose, and I did have Oklahoma City. I'm, obviously watching that game, I was sick. I had 6 points in the game, and I'm sitting there, I have absolutely no chance to win. So that happens. But for the most part, I pick a lot more winners than I do losers, and my clients win a lot more than they lose. That's what's going to happen now. The NBA playoffs, the rest of the way, baseball through the All-Star break, hockey that's out there. I got a $500 value big play tonight right there online, jimfeist.com. All of that included right through the All-Star break for $39. Just call 1-866-841-1655. And I want to chirp in there about this Serge Ibaka, Oklahoma City. I know what you're talking about, up-tempo points and everything else, John, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I'm saying is, you remember Serge Ibaka, not only did he lead in rebounds, block shots, but he was the 3rd leading scorer on the team. They haven't been able to find that. Now, Reggie Jackson has put up some points. That's true. But this is one of the reasons there's so much pressure on Durant and Westbrook to score, which is why they're playing so many minutes and why they look to be exhausted. Now, this 3 days off might help them quite a bit, but they're playing a very deep team. So I'd be careful of the total. 1-866-841-1655, $39. We're going to make you some money.
That's right. It's all about grinding out a profit. And, Jeff, you've been doing that with baseball, 2-1 yesterday. And these best bets of yours, 34-17 on the season. And you've got a special for the rest of May.
You get the rest of May at baseball plus NBA playoffs for a grand total of only $10. And when you sign up, you're going to get a high roller consensus. That's a 20-star play, $100 value. You get that free as a bonus. Just call LVSS to 1-866-575-8916, 1-866-575-8916. The rest of the month, just $10.
All right, and Mr. Vegas also has a special for the rest of May. Get baseball and the NBA for $10. 1-866-896-1627. There's money to be made in baseball, the NHL, and NBA playoffs. If you want to win, take advantage with these Vegas pros. Enjoy the games, everyone, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Pro Line as we dissect the NBA Finals.